I have some fresh data for you from today that Dogecoin and other cryptos are very close to bottoming out. Before we look at the data, let's look at the recent price action of Bitcoin. Bitcoin for the past 2 months has been closing consecutive weeks in the red. The previous week had seen it close its 7th consecutive weekly candle for the first time in history. This makes it the first time ever for Bitcoin to see 8 consecutive weekly closes, causing major panic among crypto investors. Normally, when a large digital asset such as Bitcoin is closing multiple weeks in the red, it points towards a massive bear market on the horizon. But even despite all this, there's some new data that suggests that the bottom for Bitcoin and Dogecoin is very close to their current price levels. It says here that Bitcoin transaction volume just reached a 9-month low of $2.9 billion. As you can see, the transaction volume reached a high of $12 billion a couple of weeks ago. So this could suggest that the major sell-off that we had to see will come to an end and people aren't indulging in any buying or selling right now. Since they aren't indulging in any selling, this just implies that they're holding on because they think we'll get out of the bearish cycle soon. Look at this. The number of addresses holding 1+ coins has reached an all-time high of 846,000 holders. I think that's truly insane, given that we're still in the bearish phase. The fear and greed in the market would suggest that people are really afraid right now. The metric currently has a number of 12, which suggests there's extreme fear in the market. But the data shows that things are finally getting better and people are confident. Now you might ask how this is all related to Dogecoin. It's related to Doge because of its high correlation with Bitcoin right now. The 30-day price correlation with Bitcoin has never been higher. It currently stands at 0.98, which is simply too high. It is so high that anything that happens to Bitcoin is bound to affect Dogecoin 98 out of 100 times. But still, you might say that the metrics are still for Bitcoin, and we have no proof to suggest that Doge is going to go up as well. But I do have some fresh data for Dogecoin as well. According to recent data from WhaleStat's official Twitter handle, Dogecoin has returned to become one of the most actively purchased assets by BSC whales as its price consolidates for the next major move. Into the block data might also suggest that Dogecoin whales have been on their toes in the previous 24 hours, with a 24% increase in large transactions. Large transaction spikes are frequently associated with increased activity from institutional players or whales who are either buying or selling. These transactions exceed $100,000 in value. Also, the profitability of Dogecoin has now risen to 53% after declining below 50% earlier in the month. Having profitability of more than 50% suggests that the token is still relatively more stable than its counterparts. Now let's talk about some more data that suggests that the retail investors are still very interested in cryptos. In a survey that involved 11,000 respondents, the Federal Reserve observed the economic health of the United States. For the first time, however, it included questions related to cryptocurrencies. According to the data collected, the adult population of the U.S. has begun to show interest in crypto. 12% of American adults held it as an investment tool, and 3% said they had used it for payments. As per Pew Research Center, in November last year, 16% of Americans admitted they had used crypto for trading, investing, or payment. In particular, those were male respondents between 18 and 29. The report also found that the financial well-being of Americans is the highest it has been since reporting began, with 78% of U.S. adults doing okay or living comfortably financially. That is an increase of 3% over the last 3 years. Coming back to cryptos, the report said that the investors holding crypto were disproportionately high income, almost always had a traditional banking relationship, and typically had other retirement savings. Also, 46% had annual incomes of $100K. Now that's a lot of people that fall under the high-income bracket that choose to invest in cryptos. One of the conclusions I can make from this is that these people aren't investing in cryptos because they think they'll see a 10x gain in 1 week. They're thinking of cryptos as think about other investment assets, and they intend to hold them for the long term. And since they aren't here for the short term, expecting huge gains, cryptos with high volatility like Dogecoin and Shiba Inu wouldn't be very attractive to them. Moving on, another similar great news came from Africa. So the African Blockchain Report has revealed that crypto startups in Africa saw more venture funding in the first quarter of 2022 than in 2021. Blockchain startups on the continent raised $91 million in 2022 quarter 1, compared to the same period in 2021, representing a 1,668% year-on-year increase in cash inflow. The report stated that the continent might see unicorns appear within 2 to 3 years from its crypto scene. And another report by crypto exchange KuCoin discovered that 35% of Nigerians between 18 and 60 years had traded crypto in the last 6 months. The report also highlighted that 17.36 million people have invested around half of their assets in cryptos. Yes, you heard that right. 1 out of 6 people in Africa have invested half of their money in cryptos. While that may be great news for the entire crypto market, I'd just like to remind you to play it safe with cryptos. You should always aim to invest only as much as you can afford to lose. And another great news came from Tether. So Tether has paid out $10 billion in withdrawals to investors since the crypto market crashed earlier in May. Of that, $1 billion of Tether was redeemed at the weekend and $1.5 billion 3 days before that. Tether's chief CTO said that, "We have redeemed $7 billion in 48 hours without the blink of an eye." How many institutions can do the same? We can keep going if the market wants. We have all the liquidity to handle big redemptions and pay one-to-one. Yes, Tether is fully backed. So, this just means that Tether might get back on its foot again. And if you invest a meager amount in it right, you have a good probability of making 100x off of it. But still, I'd like to say that Tether is still very risky, and you should invest only as much as you can afford to lose. Moving on, let's look at some bearish predictions for Bitcoin just so that you have a complete picture of the market. So Scott Minerd, the global CTO at Guggenheim Partners, said that he believes Bitcoin can potentially collapse further should it break substantially below the 30K zone. He said that if Bitcoin breaks significantly below 30K, the ultimate bottom for it would be 8K. Now let's talk about some incredible news about crypto adoption from today. So GameStop has launched its long-awaited crypto and NFT wallet's beta version. The main advantages of GameStop Wallet are the possibility of secure storage of cryptocurrencies and NFT, the ability to use Ethereum dApps, and transactions being carried out through Loopring Layer 2. It is also worth noting the browser extension for PC and the fact that the wallet is self-custodial. Moreover, in its press release, GameStop also announced the long-awaited final release of its NFT marketplace. According to the company's statement, we should expect the release of the platform in the second quarter of this year. And another great news came from PayPal, which said that it would soon accept all forms of crypto and blockchain services, and I believe that would accept Dogecoin too. This was made known by Richard Nash, the company's vice president. According to him, the company is putting in efforts to enable the use of all digital services on the PayPal platform. The announcement comes 2 years after the company had rolled out such crypto services for world's leading cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, across the US. And yet another great news came from Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange, which has now permitted the direct sale of cryptos for fiat via its debit and credit cards. The Sell Crypto to Credit or Debit Card feature will enable users to sell all cryptos for fiat currency. It will allow the direct sale of crypto for 11 different fiat currencies, including dirham, Australian dollar, Bulgarian lev, Czech koruna, Danish krone, and euro. Now coming back to even more data, market insight provider Sentiment said that Bitcoin sentiment is at rock bottom, indicating the amount of doom and gloom surrounding Bitcoin and crypto in general is at its most negative since Black Thursday in March 2020. Weak hands may continue to present opportunities for the patient. And then data analytics firm Into the Block pointed out that regardless of the recent price action, Bitcoin holders have remained unfazed as the linear growth continues. The number of long-term holders is currently at an all-time high. There are now 27.65 million addresses holding 12.66 million Bitcoins for more than 1 year. Various analysts have also said that they think Bitcoin might be edging closer to bottoming out. Plan B, the creator of the stock to-flow model, recently noted that the relative strength index and realized price moving average indicators had hit rock bottom, showing that the present bear market was almost over. Now let's come back to Dogecoin. As I said, the profitability is still pretty good and the price correlation with Bitcoin is as high as it's ever been. The only thing that worries me in this is the concentration by large holders, which is currently at 66%. This just means that very few people hold a lot of power over what happens to Dogecoin. So that is something that we'll need to keep in mind as we move forward.